Welcome back. So in the last video I was doing my 1,000 mile checkup on the 86cc, and I just had to wrap that up with doing a leak or a pressure test and a couple of odds and ends before the engine went back in the scooter. So I just got done with a pressure test, leak test, and it passed that with no problem. Wanted to make sure I mentioned that because I have had people asking me if I've had any issues with this engine because of the casework I did, the porting that I did to the engine cases cutting through there. And 1,000 miles in so far and passed the leak test without issue, so clearly all that stuff is holding up fine. And I've done this on many other engines before, and as I said in some of my other videos, basically the more aggressive you get with the porting, the more risk, but you can get fairly aggressive with these and still have it hold up a lot of times. So anyway, moving on. Before this goes back in, I also happen to have a box sitting here from scootertuning.ca that I just got in recently, so I wanted to show you what's in there. I have a feeling some of you probably already know where this is headed, but let's take a look anyway. Of course, we got stickers, got a couple of exhaust gaskets, some circlips here, 12 by 15 by 15 small end bearings here, wrist pin bearings. Some kickstart parts because my kickstart was getting a little loose feeling. Wanted to make sure I could take care of that. More kickstart stuff. There's a silencer, a Malossi silencer. Now you should really know where this is going. And this is the Malossi MHR big bore exhaust. So that is for 77 to 86cc engines according to them. And then this is the accessory kit, or whatever, everything that comes along with the exhaust, the bracket, fasteners, hardware, etc. I picked up two different side stands, a Motoforce side stand, universal weld-on side stand, I believe it is. It's at least a weld-on side stand. I can't remember if it was universal right now. And then this one I believe was the Scooter Tuning branded side stand, which is just slightly different than that one is. Let me give you a better look at this MHR exhaust. Start up here. Pretty nice looking pipe. The silencer seems really nice to me. I can't imagine any of them being too much more robust than this feels. It's got a little bit of weight to it, but seems to be very well made. And now let's see what comes along with it. Got an aluminum bracket here with a bushing in there. Should help it eat up some vibration. That's real nice. I've been through that kind of with John, the guy that makes the peace pipes, and I kind of rattled those things apart at times, and then he figured bushing setups for his exhaust, and it's made all the difference in the world having something to eat up the vibration instead of the pipe getting all of it. Silencer bracket there. So this is the flange. Looks like spacers. We got springs, gasket, all the hardware. And then, of course, mandatory stickers and a little Malossi booklet here. So I just took a look at the instructions, and they give you very basic instructions, but they should get the job done just to tell you how to attach the exhaust. And they do even give you a few pictures there. They don't mention anything about tuning or anything like that, but they at least tell you how to install the exhaust onto your engine. Here's a look at the supplied flange as well. And out of curiosity, looks like I'm getting 27.4, say roughly 27.5 millimeters, maybe 28 one way, 27.5 roughly the other. It may just need some cleanup up there. It's probably, yeah, I got some edges up here, so it looks like that probably needs a little bit of cleanup, and that's probably a 28mm ID flange. I'm sure some of you are wondering why I chose the Malossi MHR big bore exhaust for the TPR 86cc, and it's actually pretty simple. I was aware that scootertuning.ca was willing to help me out, and so I browsed their site to see what they had available, and I wasn't 100% certain, so I went ahead and contacted them and asked what they thought, because they have definitely built way more and been around so many hyper race and high-end setups probably than I ever will. So I trust what they say, and they said that this exhaust has worked very well for them in the past with similar setups, so that's what I went with. And I know a lot of people said go with the matched TPR exhaust or a Yasuni exhaust, but if those guys tell me that this will work well, then I trust what they say. So that's exactly why I chose this exhaust. Before I move on, I do want to say thank you to scootertuning.ca once again, because they gave me a discount on this exhaust and the other parts that you saw in the box to help me along with this 86cc project, and it is much appreciated. So if you guys need tuning parts, check those guys out. They've got pretty much everything you would need, and they have great service. I'm not actually ready to install this exhaust yet, because I want to put this engine back together with the piece pipe on there basically just as it was, and see if the change in squish clearance, dropping the squish by 0.2mm down to TPR spec, makes any difference before I move on to the exhaust, and that way we know exactly what we're seeing happen. So this isn't just here to tease you or something. I actually do have a reason to get this exhaust out right now, and that is because while the engine is up on the workbench and I have the exhaust flange off anyway for the piece pipe, I wanted to do some test fitting of the MHR exhaust on the engine and find out if it will clear the center stand, because I don't believe that it will, which is why you saw that I have two side stands that I ordered from Scooter Tuning as well. I'm just going to do a quick installation of this exhaust, not a real proper installation. I'm hoping all I have to do is install the flange and then basically just put the pipe up to it, and I'll be able to tell if it's going to clear the center stand or not. When I went to bolt up the exhaust flange for the MHR to the TPR 86cc cylinder, it looks like the stud spacing on my cylinder is just a tiny bit wider than what it will allow with the flange for the MHR. And I ran into exactly the same thing when I tried to install the piece pipe, and I had to drill new holes in a different flange for the piece pipe to make it fit with the TPR. So what I'm going to do here is just elongate these holes a little further outward toward the outer edges to widen the stud spacing a bit, and that should work. Just going to use a carbide cutter here in my rotary tool, and while I'm at it, because there are some rough edges right here at the lip of the flange, I'm just going to go ahead and clean them up as well. Didn't take much, but it looks like that was enough to do it. Now let's see if this comes anywhere near fitting. No chance. It doesn't look like it's anywhere close. I can't get anywhere near the angle I'd need. That's about as far as I can get. I'm running into the center stand. If you look at the difference in the angle of the header here and the angle of the flange, it's a pretty big difference. So I'm way off of that, and the center stand is definitely going to have to go. Since I definitely need a side stand, and I cut the side stand off of T2 probably about 10 years ago, I've got it propped up here on the scooter bench, secured so it's roughly straight up, and I've taken out my battery box, taken out some cables, hoses, wires, etc. that may have been in the way. I've also fitted an air box here, a standard stock air box. because my current setup doesn't take up much room in that area, but I want to make sure if I set up a side stand that it doesn't interfere if I use a regular airbox in the future. So now I've just got to figure out which one of these two side stands I want to use. And I misspoke earlier. This one, the Motoforce side stand, was for an Aerox or Nitro, and this one, the Scooter Tuning branded stand, is for a BWSR or pre-bug Zuma. And I've actually had the luxury of kind of seeing this one before I ordered it, because Ryan Ott had provided me with a used version, a bit worn out and rusty, but at least allowed me to see that that is somewhere near what I'd probably need for this. So pretty much I'm just going to do a lot of trial and error, putting them up against the frame and seeing how they look, what kind of angles they provide, etc., until I can figure out exactly where this needs to go. I think something similar to this should work for me, but I can't hold it well enough to be able to kick it down, see if I can kick it down where it is, or to see if it interferes with my foot pegs at all. So I'm probably going to have to just quickly tack weld it to the frame. I've got it welded on just enough to hold it so that I can move it up and down and it's not falling off. So I'm going to go ahead and take the scooter off of the bench, get it on the ground, and then I'll be able to see how the lean angle is and if I'm actually able to kick this down or not. The first try didn't go well at all. I put it on the ground and put this down. When I put weight on it, it immediately snapped off, so clearly I underestimated how much leverage is up there on the side stand. But let's see how it goes this time. Well, it didn't snap off, but that is more angle than I wanted. I didn't realize how much this stand was going to flex. It didn't look like it flexed that much, but once the weight's on it, the side stand flexes quite a bit. Well, that was fun. I ended up cutting the welds off of the frame and the stand totally and redoing the whole thing. It's got one pass welding across here for now, just for testing. And I think now it should work. So this is where it hits the ground, and what I didn't take into account before was how much this thing flexed, because it flexes this much, so it leans quite a bit just from the flex built into the stand there. And one more time, but I think it'll be okay now, and I can kick it up and down reasonably easy. There's a look at how much it leans over when it's on the stand. I've got a small digital angle gauge and I've been putting that on here, and it depends where I put it, but it ranges anywhere from just over 10 to about 14 degrees of angle when it's leaned over, so I think that should be sufficient. Now I've welded all the way around the bracket, and then if you see here, there's a piece of 1/4-inch bar that I bent to match the angle of the bracket and also to overlap the frame. So I figured what that would do is both to support the bracket, give it extra support, and the overlap on the frame should support the bracket to the frame connection. Here's part of the reason that I'm doing that. This is the used bracket that Ryan Ott sent me. Same thing that I'm putting on there. And you can see that this little brace on the side is actually broken off. The welds are broken. Now, I don't know if he modified the angle of this or if that was some sort of stress that did it, but yet another reason that I figured it wouldn't hurt to add that extra bracing in there. I got that painted and everything's back together. I've got it running. The only issue I've seen is that when it runs at idle, sometimes it kind of creeps forward and then it wants to come off of the stand. But what I'm thinking is, if it continues to be a problem, I'm not going to do it right now. There's this piece here that stops the stand from moving forward, and I may just grind a little off, and then that will let the stand angle a little more forward toward the front of the scooter, and maybe that would help. But again, right now I'm not going to change anything. Now I'm going to take it down the road, because if you recall, I dropped the squish by 0.2 millimeters in the last video, and I want to find out if that changed anything, like if I hear spark knock now, because Dropping that clearance also increases compression, and also if it changes the performance at all. I don't really expect to be much change, but I'd rather find out before I move on. The test ride went pretty well. I didn't notice any issues with spark knock or detonation. I tried rolling in and out of the throttle slowly, cruising at different RPM and speed, and of course being hard on it, wide open throttle and stuff, and no problems that I can tell. So at least the increase in compression or decrease in squish clearance didn't seem to have any negative effects there. Then I did timed acceleration runs, 0 to 30, 0 to 40, and 0 to 50 miles per hour. And I did 4 runs back and forth up and down the same road and averaged those times out to make sure it stays accurate and consistent. As you know, I've been tracking this throughout the project, so I have other things to compare it to. So the last time that I did this was with the MVT ignition system installation, and nothing should have really changed since then aside from changing the squish clearance. As you can see beside me, there wasn't a whole lot of change in the runs from the last time to this time, but the good news is what change there was is positive. So I've dropped about 1/10 of a second 0 to 40 and about 4/10 of a second 0 to 50. And I can't swear that some of that wouldn't be maybe a difference in the weather or something like that, but at least the good news is there's no negative impact that I can see from reducing my squish clearance down to the spec that TPR recommended. With that, I'm going to end the video. But as always, before I go, I want to say thank you for watching. Also, make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it or found it helpful. And please be sure to subscribe if you're not already so you can see the rest of the updates with the TPR 86cc series and everything else that I do. Thanks again.